when I was back at the other firm, we got a phone call about 12 or 13 years ago, from a big company that owns a whole bunch of companies in the Midwest. And they said, you know what, we really need your help. Something has happened that we're not really proud of. And on Monday, we're going to remove half of the leaders of the senior executive team for improprieties. We think it's a big mess. And we tapped this guy on the shoulder. We're going to call him Mike. And we've tapped Mike on the shoulder to be the new CEO. But he's only 37 years old. We figure he's a little bit young for this. We need you to help make sure he doesn't flame out. So I said, okay. In the process of doing this kind of work, we almost always interview people who know this leader to help them find their strengths and understand where they should build. And I did a bunch of interviews for Mike, and the last one was with his CFO, a salty veteran we're going to call Emily. And Emily she was very direct. And I asked her this question, so you've seen a lot of leaders come and go. What makes you think this guy Mike can get the job done? And she threw her head back, and she laughed at me, and she said, it's really simple. This guy radiates goodness. And I looked at her like, what did you say? I had never heard such a thing. Normally we hear things like, he's super smart, razor sharp, holds people accountable, customers love him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the platitudes you hear about leaders. But she literally said he radiates goodness. I said, I need to know more. She said, well, you have to understand our context. We've been living and working in this purple stink cloud of doubt and suspicion. And it's been going on for years. And he's only had the job for 2 weeks, and we're already feeling like winners again. I had to know more. And so she went on to tell me the things that we've now done our research around. And what she said was this. He models excellence, generosity, fairness, and positivity. But more specifically, he rewards excellence. He lives generously, time, energy, and money, and those kinds of things. Promotes fairness across the organization instead of the status quo and some of the political systems. And then finally, spreading positivity. Remember, she said he walks around whistling? So this is your first exercise. It doesn't really matter what it means to me. We need to know what radiating goodness means to you. And in your table program here, you'll find the first exercise. The simplest thing comes to mind about our obligation as good leaders. And that really is to embrace the idea that the most important decision we make every day, especially in the morning, is to be happy. Happiness multiplies. What we concentrate on grows. If we're happy, the people around us feel it. Remember, I told you that our conversation today is about personal leadership. And in leadership development, we think about personal leadership this way. It's the sum of our choices that help us create a mood and tone that creates people to work together and give their best or not. We've all worked for an or not, or with an or not, right? And so we're going to talk a little bit now about the centerpiece exercise, which is in your table handout, and it's called the 7F's wheel. And I want to tell you a little bit about how this was created. This 7F's tool was created off the insight that it takes a leader who's emotionally, spiritually, and physically resilient in order to consistently be happy and to radiate goodness. I wrote this book with my friend Tim Schmidt. We met 15 years ago on the board of directors at Lutheran Social Service. He's a Thrivent executive now. And we wrote this because that personal accountability group I told you about earlier, there were 5 of us who formed 15 years ago when I met Tim. And we met once a month to try to help each other be successful and feel positive about both our personal and professional lives. And we needed a framework to organize the conversation. And that framework became 7F's. Now, as we work our way into this, let me assure you that we've dealt with a lot of the hesitation around the concept that faith is in here. I found this picture by Googling work-life balance. I don't think we could even agree on which side was work and which side was life, could we? The reason why I show this slide is because it's important to really reconcile with the frameworks, the mental models that we have. When we wrote the book, the first line in the book is that we do not believe in the notion of work-life balance. Mostly because it implies that one is a sacrifice for the other. Human beings were meant to enjoy working hard and building things. Work-life balance was created by a columnist in the 1970s. And ever since that phrase was coined, people have always said they think they're lousy at it. So this is important psychology. The results we get as leaders they're the result of our behaviors and habits that we put into our work. And those behaviors and habits come from our mental frameworks, our belief system, and our thoughts. So if you're starting with a flawed thought model like work-life balance, it's going to create goofy behaviors and you're not going to get the results that you want. So as a coach, what we do is we break down those thought models. And the best one that we've seen is this concept that we call blending. Blending means creating as many activities, focusing on how are the 7 F's alive in everything that we do. And the activities that are the most valuable to you that you repeat over and over again are the ones that blend as many 7 F's as possible into the activity. So let me test you right now. How many of the 7 F's do you believe you're blending right now at this moment in time? Could be all of them, right? Is anybody having any fun? Well, that's one if you are having fun. And then we probably have friends, right? We're working on our future. Probably finances if you improve your life as a leader. Maybe not fitness, right, for you at the moment. But we're going to break for a resiliency fair. You can probably get 2,000 steps in if you want. This is a really important concept. And it's really the centerpiece of helping you make that mindset shift. So the idea here is what we concentrate on grows. If we believe that blending the 7 F's helps us live with less stress and lead with less fear, it will happen. I'm grateful to start that conversation with you. And now I'm also happy to send you off into a break.